After years of running Muzz, there's one thing I've seen time and time again, that people, especially men, are terrible at presenting themselves. The sweet spot is being honest, showing effort, and showing a little bit of confidence. You're a Muslim searching for a partner on an amazing Muslim marriage app like Muzz. Think of your profile as a bit of a CV. You don't want to put absolutely everything in there, but you do want to have some things on there that maybe are missing that invites conversation or allows people to ask about you. Try and show off a bit of your hobbies, try and show off a few things that you're proud of, and try and just have realistic photos of you. So really think about your profile like a first impression. Is it almost inviting for people to say, you know what, I want to know more about this person? Just as you would in an interview, we all dress up, we all present ourselves well, and that's a good thing, and you want to show that you've put effort into it. But then you want to tread this fine balance of being authentic as well. Now, I remember when I was involved in actually approving profiles for Muzz, people would sign up with heavily filtered photos, and I'm comparing it to the selfie that they've submitted, and I'm like, these are two different people. But that's actually quite misleading. So you want to make sure that what you're presenting is actually authentic. And just on that, we found generally that people do a lot better and have more success on Muzz or on apps in general if they're showing off a more genuine, sincere version of themselves. Now you might be thinking, what the hell, what's personal branding got to do with marriage? Well, actually think about it. In your workplace, even for me as the CEO of Muzz, one thing that you're very conscious of is call it your work personal brand. What do people think about when they see you, hear from you? What are the kinds of things that you talk about? And how do you present yourself? And equally when it comes to marriage, what's your personal branding there? Are you someone that's a lot more sensitive? I know some people who are heavily introverted, but then with someone special, they're actually very extrovert and actually talk loads. What is my personal brand, right? And just make sure it's authentic. What you don't want to present is actually a fake version of yourself, because trust me, you'll lose track of trying to keep up with all these different personas. Look, definitely, like I mentioned, you want to show your best self when you're looking for a partner. But by the same token, you don't want to hide all the bad stuff about you. We all have our issues. We all have shortcomings when it comes to our personality, our character, our situations, our families, etc. No one has the perfect world when it comes to all this. I'm not saying on day one of getting to know someone, dump all of your negativity on them. No, but try and bide the time of when you share some of this, but make sure you do talk about it. Because what you don't want to happen is that for things to escalate, you're maybe getting engaged or getting married, and then all of a sudden it's bombshell after bombshell after, oh my God, you never told me this. That's a disaster. Be upfront, but be tactful and emotionally intelligent about when you share these things. Don't trauma dump, guys. Trust me, no one's ready for that. In Islam, we really do have a concept of a modesty, and it's not just for women, it's for men as well. But also it's important to balance being modest versus being confident. Show off a really positive side, but like I said, some modesty is a good thing. You don't want it to come across like you are showing off, or that you're arrogant, or that you're better than other people. And that balance is so hard to get right. Always remind yourself of Islamically, how should you act? What's the role of modesty in Islam? And like I said, don't betray your own principles. Unfortunately, a lot of Muslims out there who are looking to get married don't really have a life. They don't really have hobbies, they don't really have interests, and there's nothing much going on in their life. And that's actually a bit of a problem. Flip side, if you have hobbies, if you have interests, share them, right? They're great things to talk about when it comes to presenting yourself and hopefully making you attractive to someone. Ultimately, people align over values, over interests of hopefully the things that they find commonality when it comes to talking about or getting excited about or sharing as a hobby. I know a lot of people, especially women, expect the man to make the first move, expect men to make all the moves, make the conversation, etc. Remember, it's all two-way. Literally just message them, because what's the worst that could happen? I know plenty of women who ended up getting married to someone and it was actually them that made the first move. And maybe it's because you don't know what the other person's thinking. And equally, and it sounds weird, but sometimes men are a bit shy, right? And they don't know, and they have the fear of being rejected. I always say life is short and seize the moment. If there's someone that you think you're interested in, make the move. Don't just on some vague principle stay there and say nothing, waiting for them to make a move, because trust me, 9 times out of 10 you end up missing out. What you don't want to do is meet someone that first meeting dripped top to bottom in designer gear, because that it'll tell a picture about you, but equally, especially when it's very overt, almost puts pressure on the other person of, this is my expectation of life. You might like designer gear, and that's all good, but there's a way of talking about it and presenting it in a way that isn't a burden or off-putting to the other person. Showing off isn't a thing, and that's not what you want to do. Be the person that you would want to be with, right? Some people present themselves, maybe they're fed up with just trying to get to know people and talk to them, and they exude this quite negative personality. You don't want to be that person. Start from a clean slate, right? Because I've seen a lot of people, they'll spend that whole first meeting talking bad about all the other guys they met and all the difficulties they had, etc. Don't have that as your first impression. Be someone that has a positive personality that ultimately somebody wants to be around, and that's probably the most important thing. Be respectful, right? If someone's asking to get to know you, if you're interested, reply. Make sure you take the time to reply to people. And if you're not interested, still reply. Kind of end the conversation, if you will. Don't just keep people hanging. Don't keep people guessing as to whether you're interested or not. Be really clear and upfront with people that you're talking to.